these first two problems in your notes are really just an extension of what we did in the opener there. So we're solving equations here that have more than one variable, but they're different variables. So we want to solve for y. I'm going to go ahead and solve for y here in the first one. So we want to get the y by itself. And so I circle the y, and I draw the line through the equal sign. Now, to get the y by itself, I'm going to have to get rid of the 6x here, and I'm going to have to get rid of this 2. Which one should I get rid of first? The 6x. And how do I get rid of that? Nope. We're going to subtract 6x. All right, so the 6x is a term that we want to get rid of, and since it's a positive 6x, to get rid of it, we subtract 6x. So we're going to subtract 6x on both sides. On the left side, those 6x's are going to do what? They're going to cancel each other out. So all we have left over there is the 2y. On the right side, we have the 18 minus 6x. Are those like terms? No. I cannot combine those because the 6 has the x on it, the 18 does not. So which one should I write first? I should write the negative 6x first, right? Since it has the variable. So I'm going to put the negative 6x first, and then the 18 second, and since that's a positive 18, it'll be plus 18. All right, so after I get rid of that 6x, what we end up with is 2y equals negative 6x plus 18. So then once I do that, what else do I need to get rid of, Aiden? Yeah, I need to get rid of that 2, so I'm going to divide by 2. And remember, what I'm doing here is I'm dividing this whole side by 2. I'm dividing the left side by 2. So I have to divide the right side by 2, the whole thing. I can't just do part of it. I have to do the whole thing. All right, so when I do that, the 2's cancel over here, which leaves y by itself. Over here, I'm just going to do each term one at a time. So what is negative 6x divided by 2? Forget about the x. We'll just put that on the end. What's negative 6 divided by 2? 3. Negative 6 divided by 2. Negative 3. And since it was a negative 6x, we'll put the x on there. And then what is 18 divided by 2? 9, positive or negative? Positive. So we get that as our answer. Y equals negative 3x plus 9. Again, this is kind of a funny answer because we have different variables in this. When we solve for y, x is going to be part of our answer. We can't get rid of the x completely. The second one here is a little bit tricky in a way, and we'll see why in a minute. So we circle our variable, we draw our line, and so we want to get the y by itself. So that means we have to get rid of the 5x and the 4. So which one should I get rid of first? The 5x, okay. So we'll do the same thing we did before. We'll subtract the 5x from both sides. And when I do that, the 5x's cancel, leaving what on the left side? 4y. And on the right side, which one, since they're not like terms, I cannot combine them. So which one should I write first? The negative 5x, because that has the variable. We always want to write the variable term first. So we're going to write the negative 5x first, and then our plus 40. All right, so I got rid of the 5x. Now I need to get rid of the 4. All right, so how do I get rid of that 4? I divide by 4. All right, so we divide both sides by 4. Remember, do the whole side. So 4's cancel, that leaves y by itself. That's good because that's what we want to do. And now here's where we run into the trouble. What is negative 5x divided by 4? Well, if you type it into a calculator, you get a decimal, right? Can we divide 5 divided by 4 evenly? No. When we do this, for the purposes of graphing, it's going to be a lot easier if we leave it as a fraction. So we're not going to write a decimal. We're not going to use decimals for this. We're going to use it as fraction. All right, so negative 5 divided by 4 is just negative 5/4. We're going to leave that as a fraction. So how do I write that? 5 divided by 4 is a fraction. Well, we could write it as a mixed number, but we don't want to write it as a mixed number. We're just going to leave it as negative 5/4. That's all you have to do. It's actually easier than it seems. But I am missing something. I am missing the x. So once I divide the numbers and write it as a fraction, I'm still going to put the x there. All right, so that's the first part of it. And then I still have that 40 that I need to divide by 4. So what's 40 divided by 4? 10. And is that a positive 10 or a negative 10? A few things we want to make sure we do when we solve equations like this. First of all, when we want to get the y by itself, make sure that that's the only thing on this side. We always want to write the term with the x, or with the variable first, and then the terms without the variables last. Anytime you end up with a fraction, we'll leave them as an improper fraction, and we'll write the fraction first, and we'll write the x off to the side. We're going to actually see a lot of equations like this when we're graphing, just like the one in the opener. I said that one in the opener gives us the graph of a line. This is actually going to be the graph of a line also. All right, so these are lines that are going to be in our coordinate plane. So what we're going to be doing now is we're going to be graphing things in a coordinate plane. So the coordinate plane looks like this. Does this look familiar? Yeah. So the coordinate plane has a few things going on here. It has an x-axis and has a y-axis. But the bottom line is it's two lines that are crossing, a vertical line and a horizontal line. Which one's the vertical line? Which way is vertical, Levante? So the vertical axis is the one that goes up and down. That would be the y-axis here. So the y-axis is always going to be the vertical one. The x-axis is what? Horizontal. Okay, so that's the horizontal axis. So you guys might notice the equations that we just solved had x and y in it. There's a reason it had x and y in it. The x goes with the x-axis and the y goes with the y-axis. And so when we start looking at those lines, we'll see how those come into play. So let's talk real quick. Let's break down the coordinate plane. The coordinate plane is really just some number lines. What's a number line? It's a line with numbers on it, right? So usually on a number line, we'll put a 0 somewhere. That 0 is actually called the origin or the starting point. So we'll put a 0 somewhere and we'll list numbers going to the right. And to the right, the numbers are bigger and positive, and to the left, the numbers are negative, right? So on the number line, we start at 0 and we count up going to the right, and we count down going to the left. All right, so as we move to the right, the numbers get bigger. As we move to the left, the numbers get smaller. Well, the x-axis is just a number line. All right, so if you remember the picture of the coordinate plane that I just put up there, the x-axis was the horizontal axis. It just looks like a number line. So the x-axis is a number line. The y-axis is also a number line, but this number line looks a little different, right? Usually a number line is horizontal, but it doesn't have to be. It could be vertical. In fact, a lot of times you'll see a number line that looks like this. It corresponds to like a thermometer. Okay, today was pretty cold, right? So the colder it gets, the lower numbers are going to be down below, right? The higher the temperature is, the higher the numbers are going to be. So the y-axis is just another number line. But it's a vertical number line, not a horizontal one. So when we put it together, the whole thing gives us our coordinate plane. We have an x number line here, we have a y number line here, and one of them's horizontal, one of them's vertical. The x-axis is always going to be horizontal, the y-axis is always going to be vertical. All right? So, a couple of things. What is that point right there where the two number lines cross called? Anybody remember? Origin. It's the origin. So origin just means a starting point. So if you think about what the word origin means, it's where you come from. So origin is a starting point. We're always going to start at the origin when we do things, and then we're going to move away from there. So when we're plotting points, when we're graphing lines, that origin is always going to be our starting point. As we go to the right on the x-axis, what kind of numbers are we going to be dealing with? Positive numbers. So it's important that we remember on the x-axis, right is positive. And when we're going to the left, left is negative. Okay, that's pretty straightforward, right? And same thing on the y-axis. On the y-axis, when we go up, it's going to be positive. And when we go down, it's going to be negative. All right, we always want to remember, right is positive, up is positive, Left is negative, down is negative. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to graph points. When we graph a point is going to be given as an ordered pair. So an ordered pair is written in a very specific way. All right, so somebody describe this ordered pair for me. Tell me what we have here. In addition to just a couple of numbers, what else is there? Okay, so we have parentheses there. The parentheses are really important. Without parentheses, it's not an ordered pair. All right, so the parentheses are really important. We have two numbers, and the numbers are separated by a comma. Now, this is called an ordered pair because the order matters. Okay, this is not the same thing as saying 4, 2. So the point 2, 4 is different from the point 4, 2. All right, the order matters because we're always going to put the same one first. Which variable goes first? What do you think, x or y? X. Why would we make x go first? Because in the alphabet, x comes before y, right? So when we write an ordered pair, the first number is always x. The second number is always y. We call it an ordered pair because they're always going to be in that order. I know you guys have done this before. We'll review it real quickly here. What we want to do is we want to graph a point at this 2, 4 here. So what this means is I'm going to go to 2 on the x-axis. So where is 2 on the x-axis? Yeah, we're going to go right 2. So what we can do is we can draw a line. We know x equals 2. So we can draw a line that goes through the 2 on the x-axis. You don't have to do this when you graph points, but it's not a bad idea to sometimes just to get an idea of what we're doing when we graph. But we go to 2 on the x-axis, but anywhere along this line is going to be where x equals 2. So then we also have to figure out where y equals 4, right? So when y equals 4, we're going to go which way? We're going to go up to the 4. And we've got that line. All right, so the point at 2, 4 is going to be where? Where those two lines intersect, right? You guys know what the word intersect means? It's where they cross. Okay, so that point right there is going to be the point 2, 4. All right, another way to do it, another way to think about it, since the x-axis is horizontal, since it goes left and right, if the x-coordinate is positive, we start at the origin and we go to the right. If the x-coordinate was negative, we start at the origin and we go left. If the y-coordinate's positive, we go up. If it's negative, we go down. So for this, we're going to go right 2 and up 4. So starting at the origin, we go right 2, up 4, and we get our point. On this one here, what is the x value going to be? X is going to be -1. So on the x-axis, I'm going to find the -1, which is left 1, which is right here. I'll draw a line through it. I like to do it this way, at least for the beginning, just so we have a visual of what's going on. So we go left 1, and then the y value is going to be what? +1. So which way are we going to go for that? We're going to go up 1. All right, so the y equals 1 is going to be right here on the y-axis. It's up 1. So for the x, we went left 1. For the y, we went up 1. So we go left 1, we go up 1, and we get our point right there. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
All right, so what's x on this one? Trevon. So x is 2. What's y, Scott?
-2.
All right, so y is -2, which means we're going to go down 2. So for x, we go right 2. For y, we go down 2, and we get our point right there. Again, you don't have to draw those lines, but you want to think about the x-coordinate as moving right or left. The y-coordinate is moving up or down. All right, so for this one, Devin, what's the x-coordinate? 0. All right, so on the x-axis, remember the x-axis is this axis right here. We're going to be at 0. We're going to be right there. So it's going to be that line right there. All right, that's where x equals 0. And the y value is what, Mason?
1.
Okay, so y equals 1. So on the y-axis here, we're going to go to 1. So the first number here tells us to go left or right, but since it's 0, we don't go left or right. The second number tells us to go up or down, so we're going to go up 1, and we get our point right there. on the back of your notes, I want you to plot and label each of the points. All right, so when you plot point A, put a point there and then put a capital A next to it. And then when you plot point B, put a point there and then put a capital B next to it. So let's go ahead and plot these together here. Remember, on each one of these, the first number tells us to go which way? Right or left. The second number tells me to go up or down. So for the first one, for point A, I'm going to go which way? Right 3, then up 5. So I'm going to start at the origin. I'm going to go right 3, up 5, and I get to this point right here. And don't forget to label it. So since that's point A, we're going to put a capital A next to it. All right, so for point B, which way are we going to go? We're going to start at the origin. We're going to go left 9. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then we're going to go up 4. And so we end up with this point right here. And we'll call that point B. All right, so point C, we're going to go which way? Right 9. And then down 8, which I think is right there. Yep. So right 9, down 8, and we get point C right there. All right, how about point E? So we're in a weird order. Point E, which way do we go? That 7 tells me to go right, left, up, or down. Yeah, the first number is right or left. So I'm going to go right 7, and then up 0. So I'm right there. That's point E. Are they in the right order on yours? Yep. Okay. Point D, which way am I going to go? So -3 says we go left 3 and then stay right there. So that's point D. All right, point E. I'm sorry, we have E. How about F? So 0 means we're going to go which way? Yeah, we're not going to go right or left. The -6 tells us to go down. So we start at the origin. We don't go right or left. We go down 6, and we end up right here. All right, and then G, left 8, down 8. We should get right there. And H, -4 is 0. Which way? That can be down 4. The first number is X, which means left or right. So we're going to go left 4. It's actually going to be right next to point D. Right there. For this part here, what you want to do is plot both of the points in each pair. So plot the 1, 1, plot the 3, 5, and then connect those. Okay, the only ones that you're going to connect are the ones that are right next to each other. So you're going to connect 1, 1 to 3, 5. You're going to connect 6, 1 to 6, 5. But you're not going to connect this one to this one. All right, so here's what it's going to look like. Let's do the first couple of them together. Where's the point 1, 1 going to be? Which direction do I go? Scott? Right 1, up 1. All right, so there's 1, 1. And then 3, 5, we're going to go which way? Right 3, up 5, and we get this point right here. And then I want you to use a straight edge. Everybody has a straight edge of some kind. You at least have your folder. So make your line nice and straight and connect those two dots. And then move on to the next one. So the point 6, 1 is going to be where? Which way? Right 6, up 1. So there's 6, 1. And then the point 6, 5 is going to be where? Right 6, up 5, right there. And then again, use the edge of something straight. Your ID works, your folder works, and you'll connect those two. All right, so we've got this one done, we've got this one done. You go ahead and finish those up. So the next one we're going to do, we want the point 6, 3. So I'm going to go which way? Right 6. Come on, guys, help me out. Right 6 and then up 3. So we go right 6, up 3, and we end up right here. And then for 8, 4, we're going to go right 8 and up 4. So we get this point right here. And so that's going to be that line. I got that one done. All right, so then 2, 3, I'm going to go right 2 and up 3. Right there. And 4, 3, I go right 4 and up 3, and I get the point right there. So 8, 4, and 6, 5. So 8, 4, which way do I go? Right 8 and then up 4. So right 8, up 4 is going to be a point that I already have, this point right here, right? So I already have that one. And then 6, 5, I go right 6 and up 5, and I actually have that one also, so I just need to connect those two. And we get that. Then the next one is 6, 1, which we actually already have, so we go right 6 and up 1, that's there already. 8, 2, I'm going to go right 8, up 2, and I need a new point there. And connect those. And then I have 5, 1, and 8, 2. So 5, 1, I go right 5, right there, up 1. All right, so that's going to be a new point. And 3, 5 is going to be right 3, up 5. That's a point that was already there, so I don't need to graph that one again. I get that line. And then the last one, 6, 3. So right 6, up 3. So that point's already there. And then 8, 2, I start here, go right 8, 2, right 8, up 2, and I get this point right here. Thomas, did you get the homework?
Yes.
Okay.